It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Let's fast forward and talk about 50-year-olds. Now, I love what Daniel did here. Go ahead and show him, Bo. 50s is, are you going to be a Mad Hatter or a wise wizard?
So if you're out there on YouTube, you can see the slide we have up there. If you're out on iTunes, there's a guy with a wizard hat on. We're like, oh, Daniel, this must be some great philosopher, some super intelligent guy. Who's this wizard that you put on the screen? You know what his answer was?
It's clip art.
It was a stock photo. I just found a stock photo of a guy.
But it is. I mean, this is one, because Daniel did a great job with the titles I created in show note prep. He turned them into a visual. But why did I choose Mad Hatter versus Wise Wizard? And the reason I said is because remember when we started this entire show, if you go back, if you're watching the highlight, I would encourage you to go back and look at the full episode and look at the intro where I tell you that there is a poison out there that is throughout society, is that wealth is passed down, it's not created. And that is a straight up lie. I call it the big lie, is that wealth is passed down and it's not created, and it's just not true, because all the research shows is that approximately 80% of millionaires are first generation millionaires. But so you wonder, well, where does all this bitterness come from? Where does all the bad stuff? I think it comes from the 50-year-olds.
From the Mad Hatters.
Yeah, the Mad Hatters, because this is the age, if you have not made the decisions you needed to as a 20-year-old, as a 30-year-old, as a 40-year-old, or you get in your 50s, if you're way behind, there is a propensity that you might be bitter. Mm-hmm. And instead of you taking accountability, a lot of people start poisoning the well of the youth.
That's right.
And they start saying, nope, the system's against me. It's human nature, and how we cope is nothing is usually
it's not my fault.
Person's fault. Yeah. They usually will say, it's the system is against me.
Yep.
And that's why I say Mad Hatter versus Wise Wizard, because it's going to be the 50-year-old that's the wise wizard that made the decisions as a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or even a 40-year-old that's going to look back and want to give that huge embrace and go, well done and thank you. I mean, it really is the case. True. So that's why I titled this, because I thought it was such an important thing. So let's talk about what to focus on if you're a 50-year-old.
So you had already mentioned, Brian, that, okay, we knew where the savings rate was for millennials. It was at 7.5%. We know where the savings rate is for 35 to 50-year-olds. It's 8.2%. So if the average is 8.5%, the 50-year-olds must be carrying their weight. And what we found when we looked at this Fidelity study from 2016 is that the boomers, they are saving about 9.7%. So it's higher than their counterparts, but it's still not 15 to 20%.
It is one of those things, but you can tell people are scared.
Yep.
If they're putting that much money into it, they're understanding that, look, I better be doing something. Even if I'm bitter, even if I'm poisoning the well, I better be doing something to get it going. So let's talk about how you focus on those things. The first thing is, do you even know your number?
Whenever someone calls me in their 50s or even their 60s and they say, hey, I'm really thinking about retiring. I want to see if you guys can help me with that. I always ask them, okay, first question, how much do you need to retire? And I'm amazed how folks are just like, I just know I want to stop working. I don't like this job. I'm ready to tell them they can take it and do you know what with it. They don't actually know their number. If you're at this stage, you really need to know what is that goal that you're working for, to know that you can comfortably step away from the workforce and that you are financially independent.
I mean, at a minimum, I'm amazed when I talk to people, I ask them what their living expenses are.
Ooh.
They don't know.
Yep.
So you got to know, what are your numbers? It's not just your number is, what do you need to be financially independent? Your numbers is, you better know also what you're spending monthly and how that all works. You're going to know that if you're doing things like your net worth statement, budgets, cash management plan, all that stuff plays into it. And that leads to the next thing. What's your legacy? I mean, when you're in your 50s, your kids are getting older, you're starting to figure out, am I doing things right here? Am I giving back to charity? Am I mentoring people professionally within my job so that I'm passing down this knowledge? Am I doing a good job of making sure that I am not that Mad Hatter who's poisoning the well of the future, so I am creating somebody's false thoughts that's going to limit? You're creating a limiting belief, essentially. So pay attention to those things. And then the last thing, I don't know if you were going to go into it, is how efficient you are.
Yeah, I was going to say, the big thing that we see with folks in their 50s, a lot of the ones that have done well, they've built up a really healthy portfolio. They're kind of at that abundance lifestyle, or that abundance part of the cycle. we asked the question, how efficient are you with your resources? How good is your plan? Are you now equipping your army of dollar bills to work for you as hard as it can? Are you doing charitable giving in a really tax-efficient manner?
Right.
Are you looking at not just asset allocation and risk tolerance and risk capacity, but also asset location?
Yeah.
What's the taxability from the different accounts? Are you doing things like Roth conversions to prepare for required minimum distributions at age 70? When you're in your 50s, a lot of that heavy planning takes place. You can make your army work harder for you by being strategic in how you deploy those assets.
Well, I think a lot of people, because this is they reach out to us. It's part of the abundance cycle. They're good at saving.
Yep.
I mean, it's like I said, in their 20s and 30s, they realized how powerful it was through compounding interest in your army of dollar bills of getting in the habit of just letting your money work. So they're great savers, but the problem is they've done such a good job of do-it-yourself of building that they're like, I know there's probably another level that I just don't know. I'm just so good at building. I don't know these things. And it's all those things you talked about.
Yep.
There is a better way to do charitable giving. There's a better way to do tax location to not only save you on taxes while you're working, but so you can get that money as a spender out more tax efficiently and
That's right.
manipulate the tax code in a legal way. And then the whole Roth conversion strategy.
Absolutely.
So, and that leads to the last tip that I had for 50-year-olds. Don't be scared to ask for help. I know prideful-wise, you love it. And what's crazy is a lot of you guys have done such a good job, your spouses are in awe of you. You're like, you've done a great job. So when you actually realize you might be a little over, the water's starting to fill up and you're a little over your head at this point, and you decide you want to reach out to somebody, your spouse is going to be like, why would you want to pay
done
somebody?
so great
You've
up to
done
this
so
point.
good. It's because of all those things that I just talked about that you probably know there's another level. Plus, this thing's gotten so big, you'd like to have somebody. You don't want to blow it up and break it. So that's why, because this is when you ask for help, this is when you can start doing planning to another level. You can do Monte Carlo simulations. You can try to stress test or straight up try to break your retirement plan.
Yep.
What are the blind spots that you're not thinking about that would help if you had a co-pilot look at? And we are the worst marketers ever, but I do think I wouldn't be doing you justice if I didn't put that tip in there.
You only get one shot to enter into financial independence. If financial independence for you means leaving the workforce, leaving a job, living off your assets, you just want to make sure it's something you measure 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times and only cut once.
So let's give them some numbers to build some perspective, Bo.
So again, if we take the Bureau of Labor Statistics average income for a 45 to 54 or a 55 to 64-year-olds, it's about $55,000 and $52,000 respectively. So again, we're going to use the millionaire next door formula. We're going to take your age times your income and divide by 10.
But can I give one thing that I thought was interesting?
Yeah.
The young person, the 50-year-old's income, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, works out to be about $55,000 a year. The 55-year-old works out to be $52,000 a year.
It's actually going down.
This is the first time, because all the other ages, it was going up. But you see, and I don't know if that's people falling out of the workforce. I don't know if it's people making less income. But either way, I think that you have to pay attention when something like that data point shows up, where every other decade was going up. This is the stage where you've probably reached peak earning potential, and you need to make sure your plan has evolved to reflect that.
That's exactly right. So if we take that formula, age times your income divided by 10, for a 50-year-old, if you want to be an average accumulator of wealth, at that income, your net worth should be $275,000. But we want you to be prodigious. You should be over $500,000. You should be at $550,000. If you're a 55-year-old, to be an average accumulator of wealth, you should have $286,000, or to be a prodigious accumulator, which is what you should shoot for, should be double that amount, which is $572,000. Even at 50 and 55, you still have an intermediate term time horizon for those dollars to grow. So if that's what you've accomplished, and I'll just use the 550 and the 572, by the time that you get to 65 years old, you could still be on track for a 50-year-old to have $1.5 million, or even for the 55-year-old to have $1.1 million.
So let me just recap this, because this is a powerful thing, is that a person who's in their 50s making making $55,000 to $52,000 a year, because we have the 50-year-old at 55, the 55-year-old at 52,000. That's all Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's not a tycoon making six figures. That's somebody making, mid-level income, still has the potential. if they've done the right habits,
Yep.
the right saving behaviors, when they reach retirement, they're going to be millionaires.
It can actually even be so much better because this doesn't even take into account additional savings.
Yeah.
That's just the money that you've built up to this point that can work for you. Obviously, if you continue to save from now until the time you turn 65, it's even greater. It just keeps on compounding.
Look, it's great to be a 20-year-old who watches this content, but I will tell you, I still get excited for my 50-year-olds because
Absolutely.
this shows that multiplier effect. It has slowed down, but man, it's still pretty incredible that
Yep.
you can be a 7-figure person just starting out with just making sure you're focusing on the basics.
Exactly right.
and all these things kind of come together perfectly. And that kind of leads to, here's kind of the closing things, the closing points that I want people to understand. As you can see, there's a big lie out there in society is that the only way that you can get wealth is if it's passed down to you. That is wrong, guys. I mean, I'm here to tell you, 80% of millionaires are first generation. That means wealth is created. You're looking at 2 examples, by the
Absolutely.
way. Neither one of us come from wealth, and yet I'm telling you, you too can be a 7-figure person if you just don't buy into the big lie. The thing you have to understand is average income is okay. You don't have to make bags of cash to be successful. The biggest thing, if you're going to turn dreams into reality, you better create a plan. And that's the biggest thing I think the average American is screwing up. And that's why we've gone, Bo, this is pretty exciting stuff. We've actually created a resource page.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Hey, guys, if you haven't gone to moneyguy.com and gone and looked at our resource page, a lot of these things, especially like the wealth multiplier, the net worth by age, these things are blowing it off the track. I think people see this and they're like, whoa, I can't believe this is free. And so they go and they give us their email address and they download this content. You've got to go check it out. It's all completely free. Go out to moneyguy.com, check out the new resource page. Also, guys, if you haven't, you hear us bragging about Daniel and a lot of the content. You've got to also, the team in the background, we're also creating blogs.
Blog posts, yep.
If you're not looking at our blogs, you're missing out on tremendous things because we're taking a lot of the content we're doing here, but we can only do so much within 35 to 55 minutes, what we do for a normal show. We know there's other conversations to be had, so we're
Absolutely.
using the blog to kind of fill in the gaps. Take advantage of that. It's free. You're crazy if you're not taking advantage of that stuff. And then you're asking, that's the last thing. Why are we doing this all free? We have developed this. I've been doing this since 2006. We have developed the abundance cycle. And this is simple. And when you hear about it, you're like, that makes complete sense. I see why these guys are doing it. I see why they're growing. Is that we want you just to come and absorb, learn all the free information we're giving you, because we know if you will learn, apply this, you're going to start noticing your resources, your net worth, your success is just going to grow because we're just blowing it up, giving you free stuff. There's going to reach a level that you're going to get so successful that you're going to go, what do I do with this?
And how did I get here?
Yeah, how did I get here? I don't remember saving this much money. It's because you didn't. Your army of dollar bills
right.
did a lot of the work. And you're going to say, I need some help. And that's where the abundance cycle kicks in, where you'll say, I remember who gave me all that advice. We've been doing this since 2006. So people then reach out and they start working with us professionally. It is the greatest thing. I love it because it's generous. It totally fulfills the abundance principle of that you can create so much.
Yep.
Just dial in, moneyguy.com. You will get connected. I don't care if you're listening to podcasts, if you're watching us on YouTube. The purpose is complete, is that we want to see you become the best version of your financial self, so take advantage of it.
Make sure you go out to the website, give us your email address, subscribe so you can get updates from us. If you haven't gone out to YouTube and subscribed, do that so you can be notified every time we upload a new video. We are so thankful we get to do this with you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing us to spend some time with you every week.
Money Guy team, out.